From Canada, Citizens Forum, where we look at the important issues of the day through a lens of democracy and media and try to figure out, how do we build a better country for ourselves? Hello, welcome to Citizens Forum. It is Sunday, February the 2nd, 2025. My guest is Louis Guilbeault. We're going to be talking about one of the more remarkable stories in North American history, and that is the removal of our train and tram systems in towns and cities across North America, beginning about 100 years ago. General Motors, which was huge back then, and the big oil companies and other automobile-based corporations decided that they didn't want the competition of trains and trams in their cities. So what they did was they began to buy up and destroy the huge network across the United States and Canada, the huge network of electric train and tram systems. And they bought them up and put them out of business and forced people into cars and buses instead. And of course, this had a huge impact on our society and our planet and everything else. And nobody even knows about it because the media and our governments never tell us about these kinds of things. So, Louis, did this actually happen? And did it happen in Canada as well?
Oh yeah, Jack. This happened right across Canada and the United States, big time. I know definitely right here in Victoria, right in Vancouver, and right in Calgary. Those are the three cities, Canadian cities, that I'm positive it happened. But in the United States, it's very rare to find a city where it didn't happen.
And what was it that happened?
General Motors, these tram companies were having problems because of the competition from the automobile, and the business was in declining, but not that much. They were still going concerns, right? But because of the decline in business and because of the depression, this cartel took advantage of the weakness of these companies and bought them up and just ripped out the rails and made a fortune. Because when they bought the companies, they got all this real estate, incredible real estate, especially, can you see, over here in the Twin Cities. The Twin Cities was the sleaze pit of them all.
Twin Cities is Minneapolis, St. Paul, in the state of Minnesota.
Yeah. So there was sleaze everywhere, but you can see this guy. This guy went to jail. This guy, Fred Osana here, you can see he's lighting a streetcar on fire here. And he thought he was a real hero. Look at me, I'm on television, lighting streetcars on fire. Aren't I special, you know? And so he went on TV, and there he is, torching streetcars. Look, thump, 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 aren't I a great guy? And he was in partnership with this mobster who murdered people. And this is the kind of people that General Motors got recruited into the whole racket, right? So
I saw the story about what they did in Los Angeles, which had, back in the 30s or whenever they destroyed it, it had something like 1,000 miles of track. And LA was a very small city at the time. Compare that to Vancouver today, which has maybe 20 or 30 miles of track. LA had 1,000 miles of track, carried 100 million people a year and made money. And they they destroyed it.
That's right. There were actually two systems in LA. That's the famous system you're talking about, the Pacific Electric. But there was a very big system called Los Angeles Railway that ran in Central when LA actually had a downtown, a booming downtown at that time, right? Before it was all decimated like many, many downtowns, right? So, yeah, it's a shame. And we're still paying the price today for all of this sleaze that went on.
Yeah.
So,
and even today, here in Victoria, our provincial government, which is NDP, we've got the track that would solve. If they would just put commuter rail on it, it would solve one of the biggest transportation problems we have in our city. We've got the track. but they won't put trains on it, and they have
That's right.
refused for decades to do that.
It boggles the mind. Vancouver, I showed you, Vancouver gets 8 times per capita, even factoring in for population, every person in Vancouver gets 8 times the money for transportation infrastructure that the people in Victoria make. And that is horrible. Victorians have to start demanding our fair share of the money, and we're not getting it.
Yeah.
So,
and here in Victoria, we have the track, but they won't give us a train, and they refused for decades to do that.
That's right.
So, Louis, let's just finish with this. If we would begin to spend our transportation money on trains and trams, would that make sense for you?
Absolutely. Buses you can't do everything with buses. There's so many limitations with them. One train, they are putting 4 train light rail, with 4 light rail vehicles in Calgary attached, and they can carry 800 people on one train. 800 people. It's unbelievable. There's no buses. There's no way you can do that, right? That's just one example. And they don't pollute, and they're more comfortable to ride on.
Much more comfortable.
Much more comfortable. But we're stuck with this really unbelievably outdated and crude system. So, yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, and once again, folks, we talk about this underlying problem we have of the lack of democracy in Canada and the lack of a free press. And this is the kind of problems we get because of that. I think the Canadian people might very well want to see trains and trams and at least be told the truth of what happened a century ago, but those things don't happen. Louis Guilbeault, thank you very much. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for having me, Jack.
Thanks for watching this segment of Citizens Forum.